Good morning, guys. I thought I would come on here and have a Bible study with you. I haven't had one in a while. The last time I was on here, I was talking to you about Job, how he made a covenant with his eyes so that he wouldn't look upon a person in a sinful manner. So, since we were talking about making a covenant with your eyes, here's a c-1 right now. We're going to read about Job, see what kind of character he had and what kind of person he was, that he decided to make a covenant with his eyes to not look upon someone in a lustful manner, in a poor, desirable manner. So, Job 1. I don't know how far I'm going to go, but I'm going to read a little bit of it for you guys. It says, this is the prologue. It says, there was once a man named Job who lived in the land of Uz, U-Z. He was blameless, a man of complete integrity. He feared God and stayed away from evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep. He owned 3,000 camels. He owned 500 teams of oxen and 500 female donkeys. He also had many servants. He was in fact the richest man in the entire area. Job's sons would take turns preparing feasts in their homes, and they would also invite their 3 sisters to celebrate with them. When these celebrations ended, sometimes after several days, Job would purify his children. He would get up early in the morning and offer a burnt offering for each of them. For Job said to himself, perhaps my children have sinned and have cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular practice. So after they had the feast and the parties, he purified those children. Okay, then Job's first test. One day, the members of the heavenly court came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser, Satan, came with them. Where have you come from? The Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on. Then the Lord asked Satan, have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. Satan replied to the Lord, yes, but Job has good reason to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him and his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. That's what the devil told God. All right, you may test him, the Lord said to Satan. Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but don't harm him physically. So Satan left the Lord's presence. And one day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived at Job's home with this news. Your oxen were plowing with the donkeys feeding beside them. When the Sabeans raided us, they stole all the animals and killed all the farmland. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. The fire of God has fallen from heaven and burned up your sheep and all the shepherds. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, a third messenger arrived with this news. 3 bands of Chaldean raiders have stolen your camels and killed your servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. Your sons and daughters were feasting in the oldest brother's home. Suddenly a powerful wind swept in from the wilderness and hit the house on all sides. The house collapsed and all your children are dead. I am the only one who escaped to tell you. Job stood up and tore his robe in grief. Then he shaved his head and fell to the ground to worship. He said, I came naked from my mother's womb. and I will be naked when I leave. The Lord gave me what I had, and the Lord has taken it away. Praise the name of the Lord. In all of this, Job did not sin by blaming God. So that was his first test. A whole bunch of things happened and took everything he owned away. Now it says, this is chapter 2, Job's second test. One day the members of the heavenly court came again to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser Satan came with them. Where have you come from? The Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on. Then the Lord asked Satan, have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. And he has maintained his integrity even though you urged me to harm him without cause. Satan replied to the Lord, skin for skin. A man will give up everything he has to save his life, but reach out and take away his health, and he will surely curse you to your face. This is what Satan said. All right, do with him what you please, the Lord said to Satan, but spare his life. So Satan left the Lord's presence, and he struck Job with terrible boils from head to toe. And Job scraped his skin with a piece of broken pottery as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Curse God and die. But Job replied, you talk like a foolish woman. Should we accept only good things from the hand of God and never anything bad? So in all this, Job said nothing wrong. Job's 3 friends share his anguish. When 3 of Job's friends heard of the tragedy he had suffered, they got together and traveled from their homes to comfort and console him. Their names were Eliphaz, a Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Nebelite. And when they saw Job from a distance, they scarcely recognized him. Wailing loudly, they tore their robes and threw dust into the air over their heads to show their grief. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and nights. No one said a word to Job, for they saw that his suffering was too great for words. So Job's first speech, this is in chapter 3. At last Job spoke, and he cursed the day of his birth. He said, let the day of my birth be erased, and the night I was conceived. Let the day be turned to darkness. Let it be lost even to God on high, and let no light shine on it. Let the darkness and utter gloom claim that day for its own. Let a black cloud overshadow it, and let the darkness terrify it. Let the night be blotted off the calendar, never again to be counted among the days of the year, never again to appear among the months. Let the night be childless. Let it have no joy. Let those who are experts at cursing, whose cursing could rouse Leviathans, curse that day. Let its morning star remain dark. Let it hope for light, but in vain. May it never see the morning light. Anyway, so he cursed the day that he was born in all sort of ways. He said he don't want it to even be known that he was even born to the earth. And then he says, why wasn't I born dead? Why didn't I die as I came from the womb? Why was I laid on my mother's lap? Why did she nurse me at her breast? Had I died at birth, I would now be at peace. I would be asleep and at rest. I would rest with the world's kings and prime ministers, whose great buildings now lie in ruins. So he kept explaining. And then down here, his friend Eliphaz's first response to Job. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied to Job, will you be patient and let me say a word? For who could keep from speaking out? In the past, you have encouraged many people. You have strengthened those who were weak. Your words have supported those who were failing, and you encouraged those with shaky knees. But now, when trouble strikes, you lose heart. You are terrified when it touches you. Doesn't your reverence for God give you confidence? This is what his friend was telling him. Doesn't your life of integrity give you hope? Stop and think. Do the innocent die? When have the upright been destroyed? My experience shows that those who plant trouble and cultivate evil will harvest the same. Let's see here. A breath from God destroys them. They vanish in a blast of his anger. The lion roars and the wildcat snarls, but the teeth of strong lions will be broken. The fierce lion will starve for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness will be scattered. Thus, truth was given to me in secret, as though whispered in my ear. It came to me in a disturbing vision at night. When people are in a deep sleep, fear gripped me, and my bones trembled. A spirit swept past my face, and my hair stood on end. The spirit stopped, but I couldn't see its shape. There was a form before my eyes. In the silence, I heard a voice say, "Come, can a mortal be innocent before God? Can anyone be pure before the Creator? If God does not trust his own angels and has charged his messengers with foolishness, how much less will he trust people made of clay? They are made of dust, crushed as easily as a moth. They are alive in the morning, but dead by evening, gone forever without a trace. Their tent cords are pulled, and the tent collapses, and they die in ignorance." And so his friend Eliphaz, he continues on with his lament. He continues on about how God does not care about this person made of clay. He continues on with that. Then at the end, he says, "Listen to my counsel and apply it to yourself." So in other words, he said he has found it to be true that God don't care about him. And then in 6, a second speech, Job responds to what he has said. He said, "If my misery could be weighed and my troubles be put on the scales, they would outweigh all the sands of the sea. That is why I spoke impulsively. For the Almighty has struck me down with his arrows. Their poison infects my spirit. God's terrors are lined up against me. Don't I have a right to complain? Don't wild donkeys bray when they find no grass? And oxen bellow when they have no food? Don't people complain about unsalted food? Does anyone want the tasteless white of an egg? My appetite disappears when I look at it. I gag at the thought of eating it. Oh, that I might have my request, that God would grant my desire. I wish would crush me. I wish would reach out his hand and kill me. At least I can take comfort in this. Despite the pain, I have not denied the words of the Holy One. But I don't have the strength to endure. I have nothing to live for. Do I have the strength of a stone? Is my body made of bronze? No, I am utterly helpless without any chance of success. One should be kind to a fainting friend, but you accuse me without any fear of the Almighty. My brothers, you have proved as unreliable as a seasonal brook that overflows its banks in the spring when it swallows with ice and melting snow. But when the hot weather arrives, the water disappears. The brook vanishes in the heat. The caravans turn aside to be refreshed, but there is nothing to drink, so they die. The caravans from Tuma search for this water. The travelers from Sheba hope to find it. They count on it, but are disappointed. When they arrive, their hopes are dashed. You too have given no help. So he said his friends are like that disappearing, fleeting water that flows in the brook. You can see it one day, the next day it's gone. He said these friends are not dependable. He said you friends are not my friends. Basically, he said, you have seen my calamity and you are afraid. But why? Have I ever asked for a gift? Have I begged for anything of yours for myself? Have I asked you to rescue me from my enemies or to save me from ruthless people? Show me what I have done wrong. Honest words can be painful, But what do your criticism amount to? In other words, he telling his friend he don't need him. You know, he said, I'm already in anguish and pain. What do I need you here for? Telling me how bad I look, how bad my pain is, and what the Lord, he said, I already know what the Lord do. He said, I don't need you here for that. He said, go on, be gone with you. Basically, he tells, be gone with you. He said, stop assuming my guilt, for I have done no wrong. Do you think I am lying? Don't I know the difference between right and wrong? See, they're trying to say it's his fault. He said, not his fault. It's not my fault that this is happening to me. And then number 7, it says, it's not all human life a struggle. Our lives are like that of a hired hand, like a worker who longs for the shade, like a servant waiting to be paid. I too have been assigned months of futility, long and weary nights of misery, laying in my bed. I think when will it be morning? But the night drags on, and I toss till dawn. My body is covered with maggots and scabs. My skin breaks open, oozing with pulse. So Job cries out to God. My days fly faster than a weary shuttle. They end without hope. Oh God, remember that my life is but a breath, and I will never again feel happiness. You see me now, but not for long. You will look for me, but I will be gone. Just as a cloud dissipates and vanishes, those who die will not come back. They are gone forever from their home, never to be seen again. So he just keep on talking to the Lord here. This is chapter 7. We have come all the way down quite a ways here. Then another friend speaks, Bildad. Bildad's first response to Job. He says, how long will you go on like this? So all of his friends have a chapter here. Then the next chapter 9, the third one, Job responds to Bildad. Then when we get to 10, Job is going to start a plea with God when we get down to chapter 10. So I'm going to take a break right here. We're not going to listen to all his friends and their laments, but we will listen to chapter 10. Let's take a break, guys.